Welcome to Building the Future, hosted by Kevin Horick. With millions of listeners a month, Building the Future has quickly become one of the fastest rising programs, with a focus on interviewing startups, entrepreneurs, investors, CEOs, and more. The radio and TV show airs in 15 markets across the globe, including Silicon Valley. For full showtimes, past episodes, or to sponsor the show, please visit buildingthefutureshow.com.
Welcome back to the show. Today we have Chris Gialanella. He's the group publisher of Modern Luxury Los Angeles, who publishes Angelina and Los Angeles Confidential magazines. Chris, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me, Kevin.
Yeah, I'm really excited to actually have you on the show. I've actually heard about you guys and kind of known about Modern Luxury and a bunch of your other magazines for a number of years now. So, you know, selfishly, I'm fascinated to learn more about your journey and what you guys are doing. But maybe before we get into all that stuff, let's get to know you a little bit better and start off with where you grew up.
Sounds good. So maybe you can tell by my accent, but I grew up on the East Coast in New Jersey, a town called Livingston, New Jersey. And I think the claim to fame in my town were Jason Alexander from Seinfeld and Chelsea Handler are sort of the two celebrities that grew up in my town.
Very cool.
Spent my baby years, elementary, junior high, high school. Actually heading back next week for my high school reunion. 30
nice.
Years.
That's
and
cool.
Then, yeah. So we're getting older, huh, Kevin?
Yeah,
So it happened. So grew up in New Jersey, Italian Catholic family.
Okay.
One amongst three brothers. My parents are just incredible. They're still married. They've been, I think they're going on about 5 years right now.
Wow.
Still living in the same house. You know, when I go home, I stay in my old bedroom. It's kind of funny.
That's got to be kind of cool, actually.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's fun. I mean, it's interesting. Back east, a lot of people sort of stay put.
Gotcha.
It seems like now the millennials are all sort of moving around and people come and go. But, yeah, my parents and a lot of people I know just kind of stay put, staying in the same homes all those years.
Sure.
And then, let's see, after high school, I went off to college at University of Wisconsin in Madison.
What'd you take?
Incredible opportunity. Yeah, it was interesting. I felt like my brother went to University of Michigan, and at the time, Wisconsin was kind of coming on the radar back in the late 80s. And I applied. I felt like I wanted something completely different from my college experience. And I landed there with two of my really good friends from high school. And, we loved it. I was a political science major, got to know how the world worked by being at University of Wisconsin, liberal arts college, meeting people from all over the country, from all over the world, really. So it was a really great opportunity. Then that led me to Washington, D.C., where I interned for my congressman, a local congressman at the time, and learned about politics and legislation and constituent mail and doing all that stuff. Bartended in D.C., and then my parents decided, we're done paying your rent. You got to get a real job. So I had to move back home, got a job in New York City for a company called Pins. And then quickly, about a year later, they had transferred me to Los Angeles. So I worked for Pins in Los Angeles for about 6 years. And then the media company came calling. Well, my wife, who was my fiancée at the time, brought a copy of Angelina magazine home and said, you should call this gentleman whose face is in there and get into sales. I said, huh, really? So I called that gentleman, and his name is Michael Kong. He was the founder of Modern Luxury. And I said, I have absolutely no experience. I'm not going to BS you, but I'm young, hungry, and I'm ready to work, and I want to make a lot of money. So pay me commission only. Let's see what I could do. So how do you say no to that? They brought me on board, and, I'm still here 18 years later.
Wow.
I'm running the show and proud of what I'm doing. So I think I'm probably maybe one of very few 48-year-olds who still has a second job out of college. But anyway, that's sort of my quick background elevator pitch.
No, interesting.
For you, Kevin.
No, I think that's great. I'm always kind of fascinated to know kind of how people got to where they are. And yeah, almost 2 decades at the same company is almost unheard of nowadays, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's interesting. I'm really a tough guy to, when I interview potential candidates
Okay.
for employment, I look at how long they've been somewhere, and it really shows loyalty. And, so when I get a resume and they're, this job for 6 months and that job for 4 and this job for a year, you have to say, well, wait a minute, where's the loyalty anymore? I get people want to move up and make transitions, but I think it's important to kind of accept the job, kind of stick it out and see where it goes,
No, makes a lot of sense. So walk me through your journey at Modern Luxury, because you've obviously done a ton of stuff in a couple of decades. How have you grown your career there? Because I think that's super important as well.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I mean, I was a political science major, English minor, never thought I'd ever get into sort of this publishing occupation. But, when I started back in 2000, literally it was about walking up and down the street, dropping off magazines, meeting people, creating relationships. I remember the first issue of Angelino I sold. We had Don Cheadle was on the cover.
Okay.
And I remember I brought in about maybe it was $45,000 in revenue in my first issue. And I remember my boss said to me, wow, this is incredible. And I said, well, isn't this what you hired me to do? I didn't think I had an option. So, it sort of built up the sales. And then, I kind of took the lead as the leader in the office. And Michael had promoted me to ad director and then associate publisher. And then, a big opportunity came where there was an opening in our Orange County market, which is, south of Los Angeles.
Sure.
Very exclusive community, lot of money down there, a lot of wealth. So I, took the reins as sort of the leader in this market. It was great to sort of be the big fish in a little pond. And the magazine is called Riviera, which is one of our sister magazines. Gotcha. Right now we have about, we're in 24 markets and we've got magazines all over the place. But wow. Riviera was our Orange County. So I learned a lot about business and taking care of clients and staff. And then in 2014, I got a call to come back to LA because we needed to get LA back on its feet. So I've been back in Los Angeles for about, 4 years, and it's great to see the change in the city and what people are doing. And, but our business model has completely changed, and we could talk about that throughout this conversation, sure. But it's interesting where Modern Luxury is now.
No, I am curious to get into that, but I really want to dive into what exactly is the type of content and the different magazines that you're in charge of now, and what do you guys cover?
Absolutely. So we've got, in Los Angeles, we have 4 magazines right now that I oversee, and really our staple magazines right now are Angelino Magazine, which is really our luxury lifestyle, uber luxury, catering to the very wealthy people that live in Los Angeles.
Gotcha.
Household income is about $400,000. We target homes with a home value of about $4 million and up. So we really want to make sure the right people are reading the magazines, obviously for the content and for our advertisers' point of view.
Sure.
Where I want, a big jeweler in Beverly Hills to get a phone call from a qualified reader who can go in and purchase merchandise. So Angelino is really, we're fashion forward. We talk about, jewelry, we talk about travel, dining, everything you need to know from the city point of view with refraining from politics and sports and hard news. So really, the luxury lifestyle magazine in LA is Angelino. And then our sister magazine is Los Angeles Confidential, which is a recent purchase that Modern Luxury made last year. We actually bought our competitor, Niche Media, who you may know. They had Ocean Drive and Gotham and Hamptons.
Yep.
Now we're one happy family. And in LA, we had Angelino and Los Angeles Confidential competing against each other. So we just say, what can we do to keep these brands separate? So LA Confidential is really our inside, the luxury through arts and entertainment lens. So we cater to a lot of award shows and, the museums, the culture. We're working on a big Grammys event right now. We do Emmys. And we also work a lot with some of the younger groups that are a part of, the museums and the LA Opera. So we've done some really interesting things in LA Confidential. We did a big Pride push in June, celebrating our Portraits of Pride.
Sure.
And we kind of turned it to makers of tech,
Very
to really the insight industry through arts and entertainment. That's Los Angeles Confidential magazine. Then we have an interiors magazine, which caters to interior designers, architects, home design, contractors, really catering to the uber wealthy people who are, decorating their homes, building homes. So that's our interiors product, which is Los Angeles, Orange County, and San Diego. So it's a Southern California magazine.
Gotcha.
And then we have a new magazine that we launched last year, Modern Luxury Beverly Hills, which is really in conjunction with the Beverly Hills Chamber. They came to us and said, we really would love to do a publication that, represents the uber wealth of Beverly Hills. So they came to us, they really liked the format of what Angelino offered. So the magazine is strictly catering to Beverly Hills businesses and restaurants. So obviously Beverly Hills is our sister city to Cannes. So we want to make sure that that publication, which is now an annual magazine, comes out in July, fulfills those needs. So, I'm a pretty busy guy with these brands.
I can imagine.
They all kind of speak to different people, which is really exciting for us.
Sure. No, I think that's awesome, man. I love that. So you've been in the space a really, really long time. And obviously you've kind of seen trends come and go. But how do you see the state of the industry? Because it seems like magazine, at least a physical copy, was dying for a number of years. But it seems to me, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, that there's a huge resurgence in actually holding something physical. What are your thoughts on kind of the industry, and am I correct at all in saying that?
No, absolutely. And I'll kind of walk you through, how we perceive print. And
Okay.
Obviously, being a luxury regional magazine company, what we do best is connect the local community to businesses.
Sure.
For example, when the economy kind of crashed in 2008, our local business kind of took a nosedive, but the national brands sort of stuck with us, like the Pradas, the Cartiers, the Harry Winstons, because what they realized is that we could actually reach more local wealthy people in these cities like, Miami and Los Angeles and Newport Beach and Chicago and Atlanta. And some of the national magazines maybe didn't have a higher population or circulation, or simply couldn't get people into those doors. So for example, we do a lot of local events where, let's say, a luxury brand on Rodeo Drive, they want to drive traffic and they want us to get 50 qualified potential customers in there. We could do that.
Sure.
So we kind of had the advantage being this sort of local magazine that has sort of this national feel to it. So that's kind of how we got through the trend. And literally now, our jobs are really connectors. We connect people through print, our print magazines, through digital, through events, and through sponsorship. So, I don't think print will ever die. I think our demographics right now are people who really like to look and touch and feel. But we also have a big digital reach of individuals who are downloading Angelino on their iPads and iPhones and
Sure.
LA Confidential on their computers. So it's interesting. The circulation stays the same, but we're getting a lot more readers who are reading the product through print and through digital. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, no, I think it's quite fascinating. I think, and I'm just curious to know your thoughts on this, is it seems like why print has still become kind of relevant, and I think it's kind of related to even like vinyl, is there's almost so many choices when you load up an app like Netflix or something like that. You're almost overwhelmed. But if you pick up something physical, you just have to focus on that, right? And so if somebody gets something in the mail, especially kind of a magazine nowadays, or however they get it, they feel like it's theirs, they own it, and now they want to kind of get in a corner or their room or wherever and just sit down and relax and focus on that one thing instead of spending 20 minutes deciding what to read or watch. Have you found that, or what are your thoughts on that?
Absolutely. I mean, obviously our average reader spends about 45 minutes on the magazine, right? So for us, we feel people put down their device, their iPhone, their iPad, and really spend time reading the magazine, because I think the style that we use is an oversized magazine, 10 by 12, and it feels very luxurious. It looks like a coffee table book.
Sure.
So we always have to make sure the content we have in there speaks to the reader.
Yeah.
And I think, you have Yelp reviews, you have this and the other, but I think it's always great to get the point of view from someone who really understands, that type of business.
Sure.
And, our hotel readership is really big for us, because we're getting a lot of, residents coming from Saudi Arabia and China who are staying at the big 5-star luxury hotels. And it's great because they're the ones who are buying property and spending money in the restaurants and shopping and doing all that. So that's a great vehicle for us of print readers, So it's interesting when you have the right product. We know that it's something that, everyone's going to want to read. And also, I want to mention this one fact. When we started Modern Luxury, our CEO at the time had gone to a lot of charity events in town and would take pictures of individuals, and he published them in our newsletter. It started in Chicago. So Chicago Social was our first publication. And then what happened was a lot of individuals would say, wait a minute, I'm in this magazine. I want to show my friends, right? And then the local businesses would say, my customers are in your newsletter. I want to put an ad in there. So it's sort of the idea of celebrating people and community. And that's really what we do now through our scene pages and coverage of events. And now we have capabilities where you can tag the issue and put it back on your Instagram and your Facebook. So obviously we're an uber luxury lifestyle magazine, but people always want to be seen, especially out and about in cities like LA and New York. So, we could provide all that through our print and digital. So it's interesting when you think about, we have the luxury businesses, but we also celebrate people. And that's what people like these days.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. So I'm curious, though, how do you guys come up with fresh and new content? Is it a lot of reader request, or are you guys doing research, or you have people that handle that? Or how do you guys kind of stay relevant and make sure, things are kind of new and fresh?
Good question. So obviously, we have an editorial calendar where we have different issues. We come out, Andrew comes out 10 times a year. So we have a feast issue, which celebrates all the dining. We have fall fashion. We have, women of influence. We have the luxe issue. So we have different themed issues. But from an advertising point of view, we've actually come up with some really interesting concepts for some of our advertisers and partners. For example, when I was living in Newport Beach and the economy, remember I mentioned the economy was kind of in a downturn.
Yep.
We had to find a way to get local business up. So we started Power Players at the time, which was an opportunity for attorneys and real estate agents and business owners to, be celebrated in the issue, where we do a photo shoot of them.
Okay.
We give them the opportunity to talk about their business. Right? So we have a photo shoot. We could even dress them with one of our luxury brands. We could do their hair, their makeup, treat them like a celebrity. And then we have an event where we celebrate them at the event, where they're honored. They invite their 5 to 10 sphere of influence, and we get a room full of qualified people, and therefore their business grows and they have the opportunity to network. And now we're true connectors. So those are some really great things that we offer at Modern Luxury, is our special sections, advertorials, like Power Players and Dynamic Women and Modern Man and Living Legacies and Icons of Beverly Hills. So we always have an opportunity for any business leader or truly anybody in business who would like to get out there in a unique way. So it's sort of interesting because it kind of takes on this idea of, social media where everybody has a brand and everybody wants to be protective of that brand. So we give our clients the opportunity to really control it. They pick their photo. Our special sections editor, Matthew, he interviews them, but then they have the final say on what's written, what they'd like to talk about. So we really give our clients complete control over how these sections look. And when you look at them, they're beautifully laid out.
Sure.
And, right now we've got dynamic women coming up, and we have Melissa Rivers, Joan Rivers' daughter, is our sort of
Very cool.
celebrity dynamic woman. And then we've got about 30 other women who we're going to celebrate on December 13th. And again, an opportunity to bring people together, connect them with other like-minded individuals, and grow their business. That's kind of the name of the game now for us.
No, I think that's interesting. Yeah, I think that is an interesting perspective, right? Because I think so many people don't necessarily want to be sold to directly anymore, but if you can get them involved and in help creating kind of an event and almost like a brand around themselves, and then just put it out there, whether it's an event or online or in a magazine and all the above, they end up getting new clients or connections, and you never know where it's going to go, right? Where it's not that, hey, buy me now kind of a thing. It's more of an experience, and people that enjoy that experience end up wanting to do business or partnership or something with that person. Fair to say?
Absolutely. Oh, absolutely. It's interesting because the term salesperson takes on a different role at Modern Luxury, almost like my sales team or marketing analysts, where we go in and we assess a customer and we figure out the best way to market them, whether it's through our print brands, whether it's through digital, a special section like Dynamic Women or Modern Men, or what events they may want to be a part of.
Yeah.
That's also something that was a big change now. We had like Porsche, for example, has a new launch coming out in December, and they came to us and said, look, we want to put on this big event. So basically now we're event producers, where the beauty of us is that we could also provide coverage digitally and in print of the event. So, again, it's sort of that connecting through all four vehicles. And, anytime one of my marketing analysts comes to me with a proposal, I never want someone to just buy one ad, right? We want them to buy the brand, which is a 360-degree approach, where it might be a page in our Angelino brand and, a social media post or a dedicated email. So, our digital scope is really interesting as well, and we can talk about that too. But, again, connecting people is what we do best.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It's quite fascinating. But how have you guys adapted some of this stuff over time? Is it a little bit of trial and error, or is it you're basically watching trends, or you're just getting your readers to tell you? Or how do you make sure that you guys are relevant and what you guys are doing will be successful?
Good question. For us, when you see our brands, obviously I'll speak for Los Angeles, and, there's 20 of me in all the other big cities. But for us, we always have a current celebrity on the cover who's doing something interesting. It might be an A-lister or someone who's making a change. And we sort of utilize our celebrity here in LA to kind of utilize the currentness of the brand.
Okay.
So like, for example, we have, a gal named Catherine Hahn, who's in the new series Romanoffs on Netflix.
Yeah.
She's on our cover, right?
Okay.
So we hosted a little celebratory cocktail party with her. We invite our top customers, right, to a cocktail party to have the chance to meet her, right? So we always want to keep relevancy with our content, and it really starts with who we put on the cover. Our Los Angeles Confidential magazine, we had Rami Malek, who's playing, Freddie Mercury in Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah.
It doesn't get any bigger than him right now, and we think he's going to have some big, Oscar nods coming out. So, he was part of a big event we did 2 weeks ago. One of our clients, Hamilton Watches, who do a behind-the-camera awards event where they give, awards out to the people behind the movies, like the cinematographer, the director, or the costume designer. So we're a big part of that as well. And again, inviting our customers and our readers to be a part of something like that. So we always have to maintain what's happening now. And I think we do a really good job of it, because we always have PR companies and publicists wanting to get their talent into our brands. So it's interesting.
Yeah, that's fair. I could see that because you guys have been around for so long and built such a reputation that everybody wants their stuff kind of inside of your kind of brands or in your magazines or whatnot, and at your events. It makes a lot of sense, right? And then those get
Yeah.
publicity from outside press as well, right? Interesting.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the name of the game for us is, we want to get as many press impressions as we can,
Sure.
utilizing, Getty and Associated Press and all the other vehicles out there, because that's great for our brand in general to be out there, especially for big clients who spend big sponsorship dollars, like big liquor companies that are a part of a big event. They want to see their brand on a step and repeat going out all over the world, so it's important for us to keep that consistency.
No,
For sure.
that makes a lot of sense. So, where do you kind of see the industry going? Because it's funny because to the younger generation, I think some of the biggest celebrities are probably people that most people have never heard of because they're a YouTube celebrity, where they might not know an A-list Hollywood celebrity, everywhere in between. But where do you kind of see the things going, or any trends that do you see coming up through that?
It's interesting. The influencers is definitely a big part of what we do as well. Like we did an event last year with Neiman Marcus, and we had 5 influential women act as co-hosts, right? And we utilize their social media, where they become sort of guest influencers on the modern luxury media channels. And we see that it is important to engage with social media, but it's also not the only thing you should do, right?
Sure.
We feel it's a big part of what you should do, but there's also print, there's also, radio and TV, and we feel we want to give everybody the 360 approach. Interestingly enough, we're seeing our digital subscriptions grow quite a lot.
Okay.
And a lot of it has to do with millennials who are, either making a lot of money in town, who want access to our content and our advertisers, or even the aspirational market, who are people who may have graduated from college that want to know the cool restaurant to go to. So they'll look up LA Confidential online and go to our website or see what's cooking. And then we also have sort of, I'll say maybe like the 55 to 60-year-olds who may want to know what the hip, cool vinyl shop in Silver Lake is, right? It's something cool to know about. So we feel like we're something for everybody, but there definitely has been a shift, and our digital subscriptions are definitely growing, and we're seeing some trends there as well.
Sure. And then how much time are you guys spending on social media? It's got to be very relevant to you guys.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we obviously, with some of the celebrity events that we do and even events for clients, it's always important to include the tags and social media and everything else that we're doing. So it's a big part of what we're doing, obviously. And, like I said before, we've had guest Instagrammers who have taken over the takeover idea of them utilizing our channels to reach their people is definitely a big part of it. But, modern luxury in general has always been about who many, not how many. Because again, we want to make sure our brand is getting into the hands of the right person, right? So, as like the social media is really more for the aspirational or the person who may eventually have the money to be a part of the modern luxury family. So, it's interesting how we look at it. But again, we are definitely controlled on who we want reading our publications and getting our brand to.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And I also think then, do you guys have a dedicated team or people that just work on social media kind of full time, or is it just part of somebody's job?
Yeah, well, we just hired a VP of social media, Lori Lewis, who comes from the radio world. Our owners of Modern Luxury started in the radio world, Cumulus Media, the Dickey brothers. So there's Michael, Lou, John, and David. And Lori worked for the radio group for years, and she just came on board about 6 months ago. But really, our marketing team and our editors are the ones who really oversee the social media. Let's say my editor-in-chief is at a luncheon for a new Chanel perfume. She'll utilize that to do an Instagram story or a Facebook post. So it's almost like we have our own true brand ambassadors.
Interesting.
Within our magazine group. So it's interesting that we have so many people that really can do the takeovers and that are not celebrities or not influencers. So we feel that we're influencers as well.
Sure. So at what point do you guys decide to jump onto something that's maybe a little bit more trendy? Like if the new social media network pops up, do you guys have to be on it right away? Do you guys wait a bit? Or how do you decide trends to follow or not follow?
It's interesting. I feel, this is just from my own point of view.
Sure.
When, Facebook for me, when it came out, was really about connecting with friends,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
We don't see a big push on our media channels on Facebook as far as business goes with likes and all those types of things.
Sure.
Our biggie right now is Instagram, where we're seeing a lot of play coming from Instagram. Twitter, I'm not really sure what to make of Twitter, but we're also hearing that, Snapchat stories are also kind of on the rise. And again, we may use Snapchat to reach sort of that aspirational market, but we're kind of toying with it. But right now, I'd say, Instagram is sort of the biggest one. And, we've got other digital vehicles that have been truly remarkable that I could sort of talk to you about now if you're interested
Sure.
in
Yeah.
hearing
Very
about
much
our
so.
digital. So we have a product called Luxury Suite
Okay.
that launched last year.
Okay.
And really, it's an interesting search, and it's been really interesting as far as giving our clients names, addresses, and individuals who are interested in their brand. So
Okay.
how it works is it's 4 facets right now. We have an automotive called Luxury Auto. Luxury Drive. We have a weddings, luxury weddings.
Okay.
Luxury listing is a real estate, and then we have luxury retail. And how it works, for example, let's say I go to an automotive company, I could say to them, we can provide you an up-to-date list of individuals who are searching for luxury cars over the past 7 days.
Gotcha.
So we've got a database of about 90 million individuals who
Wow.
are actively that we update, every 2 weeks. So
Wow.
we'll say that, let's say it's Beverly Hills BMW, for example.
Okay.
They want to target, people within a 5-mile radius that are searching for luxury cars. So we send an email out to that group, a dedicated email from the business, not from Modern Luxury, clicks on it or shows some sort of engagement. We send a follow-up email to that individual. And while that's happening on their Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, an ad will pop up. Also, an ad will pop up on any family-friendly sites, like if you're going on CNN or Auto Trader or any of those, an ad will pop up for that dealership. And then what we do is, when they click again on there, we provide the customer with a warm lead list. So let's say, which includes name, address, email, that they could use to either add to their database or they could utilize for their salespeople to give a call to and say, hey, we saw that you were interested in looking at luxury cars. We've got a brand new BMW. How about you come in on Tuesday at 10, right? So again, it's giving our clients sort of this direct response to a campaign done through Modern Luxury. So the digital is really growing, and we're seeing a big trend, especially in real estate, with individuals looking for, $1 million homes in specific cities that we could target all those people. And it's simply remarkable how the whole program works.
Yeah. No,
that's sort of a new trend in our being connectors in the community.
No, I think that makes a lot of sense, right? Because cold calling and non-targeted, trying to find people is a huge amount of work, right? And if you guys can provide that to, your customers or your clients, I think it makes a lot of sense for both sides, right? And you have the data. And
Absolutely.
I think as you guys collect more data over the coming years and you have more people sign up, it just gets more and more powerful, right? And your access and your reach just gets more and more valuable to people that want to leverage that, right? For their brands and their business.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Completely agree.
Interesting. So is there any other platforms that you guys have tried or looking to try, such as maybe VR or AI or augmented reality or something like that?
Yeah, it's interesting. We're toying with I recently went to, I'm a big like health and fitness kind of guy. I enjoy working out and taking care of myself and eating right and all that kind of stuff. So I recently went to an event about 3 months ago at a celebrity trainer's home.
Okay.
And I noticed that there's a big trend in health and fitness. And we're going to be launching our first ever Modern Luxury Wellness Weekend in March, where we're going to go after yogis and Pilates and doctors and nutritionists and chefs who cater to, that market. We're going to create a really cool event where we could give the opportunity to some of our partners to be a part of something kind of new. And we'll do a panel. We might do a virtual reality. We might do some sort of experiential opportunity at this event. So we're going to toy with this year, and sort of our Q1 focus is going to be sort of this new year, new you idea, and taking care of yourself. And I think that's something that we're going to grow. And if it's successful here, we'll launch it in some of the other markets that we have. I know last year, we did our first ever Pride event, which was really the only luxury Pride event in Los Angeles. I was on KTLA. They interviewed me.
Very cool.
And we had, really interesting, we had Laverne Cox, who's sort of our celebrity co-host, Tyler Ferguson and Wilson Cruz and Anthony Rapp and a couple other really big LGBT individuals who give a lot back. We partnered with GLAD. And then we also went after businesses who either are LGBT leaders or support LGBT. It should really be everybody.
Sure.
And we called it Portraits of Pride, and we celebrated these individuals. And honestly, we had so much press, and it was really the first time a luxury magazine that really catered to the Pride community. And we're going to be doing it again this year, and other markets that of modern luxury are going to take the approach too. And again, providing something a little bit different, something interesting, because that's what we want to do. We want to provide great content. We want people to be talking, and we want to drive results to our advertisers.
Sure. Well, and I think just being a part of many communities is really cool, right? And probably more exciting for you guys as well, right? To just get out there, meet new types of people in different spaces with different kind of backgrounds and lifestyles. That's got to be just fascinating in itself, right?
Oh, completely. It's interesting, even with when I mentioned those sort of special sections like the power players and modern men, I'll always say to one of my salespeople, look, you could go into a gas station and find an owner, right? We could find something for anybody. The owner of a gas station might be somebody who gives to a lot of charities. Let's put them in our living legacy section, right? That's somebody that our community wants to know about. So we always try to find something relevant for any type of business, right?
Sure.
Our luxury suite product that we mentioned, that's perfect for anyone looking for, a $20,000 Chevrolet. That's somebody interested in looking for, $120,000 Mercedes. So we have something really for everybody. And the digital is really how we utilize that type of market. So it's interesting how things have changed over time. But, I'm proud of what we're doing. And we've got a great team behind us, and behind every great leader is a team.
Sure.
So we're thrilled of how things are going.
No, that's great, man. So I'm curious, though, how do you decide what gets posted online right away, what maybe makes it in the magazine, or kind of one and the same? Like you might post something online early and then in a magazine, or how do you decide kind of which mediums your content goes on?
So it really depends.
Okay.
Obviously, selling something online is the most current way to do it.
Yeah.
So we really focus on first.
Yeah.
And then our in-book, like for example, we had our Emmy celebration with Elizabeth Moss from The Handmaid's Tale.
Okay.
So we had this beautiful event. We had some great partners involved. So the night of the event, we did all the social media with Elizabeth and our VIPs and her cast. Then we had it online the following day. Okay. And then the following month, we did a great recap of the Emmy celebration in the magazine, right? So that's sort of the party play. But look, we work with a lot of great PR companies who are constantly approaching us with really wonderful customers who are very newsworthy. So obviously, if our editorial team find something fascinating, something kind of new and exciting, you better believe we'll put it in the magazine. So there's always opportunities, again, because we want to provide fresh content in our publications. And, our editors are out there too, but we're always keeping our eyes out for new things. So, I welcome any brands or any companies that would like to be a part of the Modern Luxury family to always reach out to us and present opportunities. Because look, you scratch my back, we scratch yours. That's how things work. And we want to make sure that we give everyone the fair chance of getting their products featured into our publications, obviously if they make sense.
Yeah, no, that's fair. And doing something kind of mutually beneficial makes a lot of sense. If somebody reaches out to you guys, though, do you guys kind of help them create the idea and how to work together? Or does somebody necessarily just pitch their idea and you guys say, yeah, we're into it? Or is it a bit of both? Or you guys are kind of open to whatever?
For me, and obviously we keep the separation of church and state.
Sure.
We're not a pay-to-play type of magazine. So, my editors are the ones who, if I get approached, I certainly suggest they reach out to our editorial team if they want to copy me on it, or I think it's something newsworthy. I can go in and say, hey, this makes a lot of sense. But really, it's up to our editorial team and our VP of editorial, Stephanie Davis-Smith out of New York. She oversees all the content and all the publications that we do in all the markets. So, but again, it's up to the individual to take the effort to present something that's on brand. I mean, we've had, last week we had somebody present, a book on birdseed. I mean, clearly they don't know our brand. They don't know what we're all about.
Sure.
And, that's something that we would, not get ourselves involved with, but a brand new, jewelry piece that, Harry Winston's doing, or a cool new resort, or an awesome restaurant that just opened up, or a new real estate listing that's, amazing. Those are the things that we're interested in.
Got you. Yeah. So it needs to fit under one of your brands. It makes total sense. I get that. And you guys probably get some wild requests sometimes, which makes, I get that. But we're kind of coming to the end of the show. So do you maybe want to close with mentioning where people can get more information about Modern Luxury and any of the other brands we talked about today?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So our website is modernluxury.com. And then obviously our social media for Angelino is Instagram is @Angelino Magazine. Los Angeles Confidential's Instagram is @LAC Magazine. I'm always open on social media @Christopher Gia. So it's Christopher and then GIA. Or simply, shoot us an email in our publications. My email is on my publisher's page. So feel free to reach out. I'm always open to, talk. Obviously, as you can tell, I love to talk, so I don't stop talking sometimes. I'm always open for any discussion. And, that's sort of how to reach us. So modernluxury.com. And then if you want to download our digital editions, you can go to media.modernluxury.com, and you can see all the specific magazines in all the cities that we're in.
Very cool, man. Well, I really appreciate you taking the time of your day to be on the show, and I look forward to keeping in touch with you, and have a good rest of your day, man.
Oh, you too, Kevin. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it, and have a great week.
Thanks, you too. Okay, bye.
Appreciate it. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening. Please visit our website at buildingthefutureshow.com to join the free community, sign up for our newsletter, or to sponsor the show. The music is done by Electric Mantra. You can check him out at electricmantra.com and keep building the future.